Okay. Hi everybody, this is John. I'm here with Darby from Tiny Texas Houses. So you end up building tiny houses with almost all reclaimed materials or repurposed materials.
Correct.
Yes.
And the beginning of that was just to focus on the repurposed materials. And as I got going, it evolved into, wait a minute, toxin-free, because it became clear as we were starting to do the research, as due diligence. If you're going to build something, you learn about what you're building. You learn the important details of the environment you're creating. If you don't, you're not doing your due diligence as the person creating it. That turned out to be our industry problem. Nobody is paying attention to how their product affects the health of the people buying it.
Yes.
This is a home. It is the most critical thing. But the precedent has already been set, because the regular building industry builds with toxic materials.
Right.
They have 15 times more air inside of a normal house to wall ratio. So you can have more toxic materials spread out over a larger amount of air. When you go tiny, you have 15 times less air to wall ratio than you do in a big house. So what little toxins are in there, you're going to breathe them. Realize it's there. If you live in a sheetrock house that's 47% fly ash mixed in with gypsum to make it no longer toxic waste, and it comes with the black mold spores in it, so you just add water if you want black mold. You put that in your house, and then you put in carpet, and you put in concrete, and you put in vinyl windows. There's nothing alive in your house. There's nothing living. It's just basically made up of all toxic materials. And then you go in there and you expect to be happy and healthy. While your body is being compromised, you're breathing in chemicals, you're trying to survive, and you don't even realize it. Now, the problem is in a big house. Now, when I went to a small house, I'm sitting here designing small houses. I got window leaks because of my old windows. I got a little air leaking in. That's a good thing. I like air. Why do I like air? We need air to breathe. Breathe. Air metabolize food. Stay alive. No air, die. Or be sick. Now we're teaching people this ridiculous premise that you can move into a tiny box built on all the same specs as a mobile home with toxic materials, giving off formaldehyde, endocrine disruptive compounds known as EDCs that are given off by vinyl that mimic estrogen, so that if your child is under 8 years old, they're breathing in this chemical, and their brain does not have a blood-brain barrier, so they are effectively taking in hormones directly into their brain, which helps explain why we have little girls that are having periods at 8 and 9 years old now, starting their cycles, and little boys with titties at 12, because of all the estrogen mimicking chemicals, from the atrazine that we're using for pesticides to the soy milk that has all sorts of extra mimicking chemicals in it. So as we start paying attention to this for the next generation and their children, and try to create healthy environments, the last thing in the world you want to do is go ahead and move into a tiny house with hardly any air to begin with, and then throw in a bunch of chemicals on top of that that you're being forced to breathe. Now, if somebody in the industry had enough good sense to put in air exchangers so that you could take the air that's in there that you breathe and put it outside and bring in new fresh air, at least you could somewhat minimize the impact. But of course, as it gets cold outside and it's 14 degrees outside and you're trying to heat up your little tiny under-insulated house and you got your windows all closed, the last thing you're going to do is turn on your air exchanger. Now, what most people don't understand is the average person breathes 528 gallons of air per hour. 2 people, 1 couple, that's 1,000 gallons of air an hour sitting there chit-chatting at the table. An average house they propose is good on TV. This box that's 8 foot wide, 20 foot long, 13.5 feet tall, has about, after you put your cabinets and stuff in there, 6,500 gallons of air. You seal that box up with all these nice tight windows and doors, and you now have only 6,500 gallons of air to breathe. So in that first hour you're talking, you burn up 1,000 of it, no big deal. Now you start drinking a little wine and gabbing and having a little laughing and fun action. Well, now you're 750 gallons each. There you burned up 2,500 gallons. You've been at this for a whole 2 hours. And now you go upstairs and have a mad, passionate hour of lovemaking. You burned up 2,000 gallons of air each. 4,000 gallons upstairs, 2,500 downstairs. You just burned through your 6,500 gallons of air, and it's only midnight. You're not going to get up and open the door and put new air in here. You're going to fall asleep. A little groggy anyway, a little tired. 3-4 hours later, you wake up, you just don't feel like Superman. You should. You had that wonderful hour last night. You're feeling, like, man, I'm tired. Go down there, make the coffee, turn on the propane stove. Don't even look down, you got an orange flame, you put your pot on there and just forget about it. Orange flame, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be blue. If it's not blue, it's not burning all the way. If it's not burning all the way, what's happening? All those extra chemicals, they're yours to breathe now. Given you don't have much air and that's why it's not burning well, you got a problem. And I always like to throw this in at the end of it. Oh, by the way, how are those two little girls doing downstairs that were sleeping downstairs overnight? What were they breathing at the lowest part of the house where all the heaviest gases go? Now they got 4 hours of breathing nothing but trash. And they're going to be healthy in the morning? No. They're going to be groggy, they're not going to have slept well, there's going to be all sorts of issues going on. That's just one issue. Now, we throw into this also electromagnetic fields. People don't even discuss what is an electromagnetic field. Well, most people don't know that from your outlet sticking out from the wall is an electromagnetic field that sticks this far off from the wall, and if you take a detector, you get this close, it starts beeping at you, let you know there's power in the wall. It's picking up on that field. Now, the most sensitive organ in my body is on the top of my head. It's called my pineal gland, my third eye. It produces my melatonin that I sleep with at night. Makes me dream good. It also helps reduce all the inflammation in my body that might cause arthritis or cause inflammation that might actually lead to cancer, things like that. Melatonin, produced by your brain. Unless you stick your head inside of an electromagnetic field at night within 18 inches of the wall at night, and all of a sudden it feels like it's lit up inside, like you had a bright light on in your head. That means you're not sleeping well, you're not dreaming well, and if you don't dream well, if you don't dream at all for several days, you start getting cranky and hyperactive and a little bit bad mood and can't concentrate and all those things that you might say are hyperactivity for kids who are sleeping within an electromagnetic field with 10 times the amount of water in their brain and bones that we have, such that if you put a microwave signal in their ear, like a telephone, it bounces around inside their head instead of leaving like it does ours, because our bones don't have the water to hold it in. So, if we know this is a problem, and we do, why would you stick your head next to a wall full of electricity? But on top of that, you build a house only 7.5 foot wide inside, and you come 18 inches out from each side with electrical fields. Oh, and in the ceiling got the,
the fan. Yeah.
The fan and everything. Okay, now, that means where am I going to sleep to get away from an electromagnetic field inside of my house, unless I turn it off at night? Does anybody do that? No. They have wires running all the way around their bed, whether you're in a big house or not. If you move your head away from the wall, put your feet next to the wall, you will sleep better at night. Because your brain will not think there's a bright light on inside because it's picking up all that energy. Same as if your router is operating inside your house, if your wireless phone is up next to your bed, you are going to be affecting your pineal gland. Now, that's the problems we get into when we throw on the extras in there. The latex paint gives off acrylic acid. Acrylic acid is very bad on the body. We have a few other things that typically get used. All the engineered floors from hardwood liquidators. And it's because they would cause leukemia in as little as 3 years from breathing in the chemicals inside your house. And so, I had one lady come through in her 60s, bought the brand new motorhome of her dreams. 1 year later, spent a week in the hospital for formaldehyde poisoning. And the damage that's being caused by this is to your liver and your organs, and is permanent damage that you cannot fully recover from. The due diligence is upon the parent to be sure the tiny house they're moving into, or the RV, God forbid, they go out and buy a toxic RV in order to live more cheaply. Our health is worth more than all the money we will ever own in our life. The health of our children is worth our own lives. Who would not throw themselves in front of a truck to save their child? And yet we allow them to live in a toxic environment and be crippled for the rest of their lives. If I can empower people to go out there and get all the materials, all their windows, their doors, their flooring, their studs, their siding, their metal roofing, and everything for free, human energy. That means a mother with her 4 boys can go out there and tear down a house, and they can build their tiny houses. This is a way of starting 1 million tiny businesses of small families that don't have to pay unemployment tax, don't have to pay all of the expenses the big corporations do. And we can go out and do this and be more than competitive. They can't even begin to compete with this, and that's why they don't want to allow it to happen. The absurdity of the government telling us what we got to do is that the government is being told what to do by the corporations that are selling us the stuff that we're supposed to use. There's no freedom in that. In fact, if we're required to use toxic materials, then shouldn't the government also be liable for the suffering, the healthy issues, And if the building industry is supplying these materials and not doing their due diligence and saying, hey, oh, by the way, if you put this in here, you're going to be dealing with these chemicals, you're going to be dealing with these health issues. They're not required to do so because they're the ones writing the code and telling the government what to do. Until we start actually watching out for the people and taking all the solid evidence we have for tiny houses being unhealthy at the moment, the way they're being constructed, we're going to actually continue to build on the numbers of people that are going to suffer from this. I started this business to create a counterweight to the mobile homes a la tiny version. My motto has been how healthy, how strong, how long can I make it last, how sustainable can I build it, how energy efficient can I build it, how portable, and how cute, how sexy. Because the goal ultimately became one of, I've got to make you want it. I've got to make you think this is really beautiful. Make you want to move into a tiny house. And my belief is everybody's house should be so cool, so unique, so different, that why would I ever want to give it up? It's mine, it's part of me. If we move into this realm thinking in terms of our health first, not cost, then we have a chance of transitioning our culture into a reasonable sized, sustainable living space culture. Downsizing is going to become a critical part of our societal evolution if we're going to free your generation up from the trap of debt and borderline poverty. We have to change our ways, and we have to change them fast. One of the important things I'd like to make a point of is I no longer call my houses tiny houses. As they've turned it into automatically meaning a box with wheels. And they've destroyed the image of it. The connotation, denotation issue has now been compromised. So I'm now moving toward calling my houses organic cottages. And that allows us to be tiny or medium, small, because the goal is to build organic, to build toxin free. I use tiny because that's the easiest way to do it the fastest first.